السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us beneficial knowledge. So today, inshallah, we're going to talk about the two prostrations of forgetfulness. In Arabic, it's called sujood as-sahw. In English, we call it two prostrations of forgetfulness. So if you are praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are praying obligatory prayer or voluntary prayer, optional, whatever, it happens that you may forget something from your prayer. You may doubt, you are not unsure, you pray this or not. So in this case, you can pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can perform two prostrations of forgetfulness. You can do it before taslim or after taslim. To understand this issue well, we should know first that there are pillars of the prayer, and there are obligatory acts of the prayer, and there are sunan or optional acts of prayer. So we start by pillars. The word pillar, what does it mean? It means, if we say, for example, pillar of the house, it means that the house cannot stand without these pillars. It means that they are essential in the existence of the house. For example, so now if we say pillars of the prayer, so it means that the prayer is not valid without these pillars. So what are the pillars of the prayer? The first thing is the opening of takbir. You know, when you stand up, you face Qibla. When you stand up, you face Qibla, and you raise the two hands up to the level of the shoulder, and you say Allahu Akbar. This Allahu Akbar is called the opening takbir, the starting of the prayer. This Allahu Akbar is pillar of the prayer. Pillar of the prayer. If you forgot it, it means that your prayer is invalid. You didn't start. Okay, then also pillar of the prayer that you stand up. Pillars of the prayer, among the pillars of the prayer that you go into bowing. Among the pillars of the prayer that you go back to standing position. You go back to standing position. A pillar of the prayer is the two prostrations. The sitting between the two prostrations. All these are pillars. The action itself is called the pillar of the prayer. Also sitting at the end of the prayer and saying tashahhud at the end of the prayer. These are called the pillars of the prayer. And you make taslim. So these are pillars of the prayer. These are what? Are pillars of the prayer. So now we come to the question. If you forget any of these pillars, if, for example, you stand up, you recite, you are reciting Al-Fatiha, for example, and then you recite short chapter or anything from the Holy Quran, then you forgot to go into bowing. You didn't perform bowing. You go directly to prostration. You go directly to perform prostration. This means what? That you must repeat this rak'ah again. That if you remember that you forgot to do this, this means that you must repeat the rak'ah again. So again, we say that to understand the issue of the two prostrations of forgetfulness, that we should first know the pillars. So the pillars are the opening takbir, as we said, a standing position, reciting Al-Fatiha. I forgot to say this, reciting Al-Fatiha, bowing, rising from bowing, two prostrations, sitting between the two prostrations, second, sitting for tashahhud at the end of the prayer, and the taslim. These are pillars. If you forgot, if you are praying and you forgot any of these actions, it means that you must repeat the rak'ah again. If, for example, rak'ah number 2, and you remembered that you didn't perform the bowing, in this case, you must repeat rak'ah number 1 or the rak'ah. If you are rak'ah number 2, and remember that rak'ah number 1, you didn't perform the bowing. In this case, you must repeat all the rak'ah. Now we come to obligatory acts. They are very, very important acts that you must do. But if you forget one of these acts, you can pray two prostrations of forgetfulness. So what are these obligatory acts? The different takbir, any takbir that after you finish al-Fatiha and after you finish a chapter from the Holy Quran, you say Allahu Akbar and you go to bowing position. If you forget this takbir, okay, this is obligatory. Remember, we said the first takbir, the opening takbir is pillar. You must do it. But here we're talking about that other different takbirs are called obligatory. Also different supplication. If you are bowing, you remember you say Subhan Rabbi al-Azim, Subhan Rabbi al-Azim. If you say it 3 times, it's okay. If you say 1 time, your prayer is still valid. If you say more, it's better. But if you forgot to say the supplication, if you forgot, for example, to say Sami Allahu liman hamida, you forgot to say it, that when you are bowing, you want to go back to standing position, and you forgot to say Sami Allahu liman hamida. Okay, these are obligatory acts. If you are praying dhuhr, you know, at the end of rak'ah number 2, you should sit to say tashahhud. At-tahiyatu lillah was-salawatu wat-tayyibat. After this, you stand to pray rak'ah number 3. If, for example, you are praying dhuhr and you stand to rak'ah number 3 without sitting for tashahhud at the end of rak'ah number 2. So in this situation, what should you do? Is it a must that you go back to rak'ah number 2 or you repeat rak'ah number 2? No. You continue in your prayer normally. And at the end of your prayer, before you make taslim or after taslim. So again, if here I show you pictures, if for example you are praying dhuhr, and you know at the end of rak'ah number 2, you should sit down to say tashahhud, at-tahiyatu lillah was-salawatu wat-tayyibat. You forgot. And you stood up to rak'ah number 3. So what should you do? You continue normally in your prayer. And at the end of rak'ah number 4, after you say tashahhud, to say tashahhud, okay, you can, before you make taslim, before you turn your face to the left, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and you turn your face to the right, you start with the right first. I'm sorry. You start with the right first. Before you turn your face to the right, you say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Then you turn your face to the left, you say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Before this, you can make 2 prostrations. Okay, you can go Allahu Akbar and you make 1 prostration. Say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Then you sit down. Then you make the second prostration. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Then you sit down. Then you make taslim. You turn your face to the right, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and you turn your face to the left. You can do this. And you can do other thing also correct, valid. That you make taslim, you sit for tashahhud, as you said, you say tashahhud, then you say taslim, and after taslim, you make 2 prostrations. You said Allahu Akbar, you prostrate, and you say 3 times Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, or 1 time or more as you like. Then you go back, you sit down at the sitting position. Then you make the second prostration. سبحان ربي الأعلى سبحان ربي الأعلى سبحان ربي الأعلى. Then you go back to sitting position and you make taslim directly. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this about what, brothers and sisters? This about if you forget any of the obligatory acts. If you forget any of the obligatory acts, you can make up for this obligatory act by praying two prostrations of forgetfulness. Now we come to the sunan or optional acts. Like what? You know, we said that after you, while you are standing to recite al-Fatiha, you put your right hand over your left hand and you place them over the chest. If you forgot to do this. Okay? If you forgot to recite dua al-istiftah, after you say Allahu Akbar to start to pray, there is dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. There is dua istiftah. It's mentioned in the book of Hisn al-Muslim. So if you forget to say this dua istiftah, do you have to pray? Do you have to pray? Do you have to pray two prostrations? Do you have to pray two prostrations of forgetfulness? No, no, because anyway, this is optional act. This is optional act. Also, if you forget, for example, to say dua after last tashahud. After last tashahud, if you look at the kitab or the book of Hisn al-Muslim, you can find many supplication you can say after you say the second or the last tashahud. So if you forgot or if you are busy and you make taslim immediately after you finish tashahud, after you say اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. If you forgot this, so if you say this, but after this you forgot to say dua supplication, is there a problem? No, there isn't. Do you have to pray to a prostration of forgetfulness? No, you don't, because anyway, these are optional acts. These are optional acts. Also, if you forget to raise your index finger, can you see this man who is praying? He raised the index finger. You remember, we say you raise the index finger and you keep looking at the index finger. This is sunnah. It's not obligatory. So if you forget to do this, there is no problem. You don't pray. There is no need to pray the two prostrations of forgetfulness. So again, you pray the two prostrations of forgetfulness if you forget obligatory acts. Now we'll mention some situations and we say what can you do in this situation. The first situation, if you are praying Dhuhr prayer, if you are praying Dhuhr for rak'ah, and you remember in rak'ah number 3, okay, that you didn't make the first tashahhud, that you are now you are in rak'ah number 3, and you remembered while you are in rak'ah number 3 that you didn't sit at the end of rak'ah number 2, you didn't sit for tashahhud. You didn't say at-tahiyatu lillah wa salatu wa tayyibat. So in this case, what should you do? What should you do in this case? Do you need to go back? Is it a must that you return and you say the tashahhud at the end of rak'ah number 2? No, there is no need to go or to return to rak'ah number 2. You continue in your prayer normally, and at the end of rak'ah number 4, you sit down normally to say tashahhud, at-tahiyatullah wa salawatu wa tayyibat, and the second part of tashahhud, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, okay? And we say you can make two prostrations of forgetfulness, okay? You can make them before taslim. That after you say tashahhud, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, after you finish, okay, you can make two prostrations. You can make two prostrations of forgetfulness. Okay, you can make two prostrations of forgetfulness. Now we come to another situation. If you are praying Dhuhr and you stood up to rak'ah number 4, you stood up to rak'ah number 5. You forgot, and you stood up to rak'ah number 5. So in this case, you should sit down. You should go immediately. You go. You should go to sit down. And when you sit down, you make the last tashahud, then you prostrate, you make 2 prostrations of forgetfulness. Okay? If you remember, after you finish, also you can make 2 prostrations of forgetfulness. Now, if you are praying behind Imam, and the Imam forgot and stood up for rak'ah number 5, what should you do? The men should remind Imam. One of the men should say, Subhanallah. One of the men should say, Subhanallah, to remind the Imam that he made a mistake. For the women, they can clap their hand. They can clap their hand to remind if there is something. Okay? I will come to another situation. If you are praying Dhuhr prayer and you remembered while sitting for the last tashahud that you only pray 3 rak'ah. So what should you do? You should stand up and complete rak'ah number 4. And after that tashahud, you make the 2 prostrations of forgetfulness. Then you make taslim. Okay. Now we come if another situation, if someone is uncertain about the number of rak'ah. Now you are praying Dhuhr, for example, and you are in rak'ah number 3, and you are uncertain. Is this rak'ah number 3 or 4? You cannot remember well. So what can you do? Scholars say that you should assume the lesser number. You are not sure, is this 3 or 4? So you build upon the lesser number. Consider this as rak'ah number 3, and you pray rak'ah number 4, and after you finish rak'ah number 4, or let's say it's a 5 because you are not unsure, so you can make the 2 prostrations of forgetfulness before the taslim or after the taslim. As we said, if for men, if they are praying behind the Imam and they noted that the Imam forgot, for example, and stood for rak'ah number 5, the Imam forgot or the Imam made a mistake and stood for rak'ah number 5, so they can remember Imam by saying Subhanallah. For ladies, they can say just clapping to remind Imam that there is a mistake. By this, we come to the end of the topic, the 2 prostrations of forgetfulness. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us from this knowledge. جزاكم الله خيرا وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.